Hello, everybody. This is Daniel from Gamestingr. Welcome back to the weekly podcast. So today we have the whole crew here. We got Jeff, we got James, we got Reese, and today we got lots to talk about. So last week, if you guys watched the podcast, it was not a super busy week because we had the next gen consoles, which are now the current gen, come out, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. But this week we got tons and tons of news to talk about. We're going to be talking about Jim Ryan, the Sony CEO, and some of the comments that he has made in the past few days. Big announcement in terms of Street Fighter 6 leaks have been released, and it's coming out to both the PlayStation and the Xbox, unlike Street Fighter 5. We also have some news to talk about in terms of the Game Awards nomination. So I'm just going to flip it over to Jeff, who is going to lay the groundworks for today. All right, Jeff. So what are we starting off with today?
All right, so we're starting off talking about the price of games. Sony CEO Jim Ryan came out and defended the next price hike in games, saying that's a fair price for the hours of entertainment you get. So if I switch over here, um, go down here, and he said, if you measure the hours of entertainment provided by video games such as Demon Souls compared to any other form of entertainment, I think it's a very straightforward comparison to draw, talking about the $70 price tag on it. And it sucks, but I agree. I mean, you spend 20, 30, $40 to take a family to a movie, you get hour and a half, 2 hours entertainment. You spend $70 on a game, you have the potential for thousands of hours of gameplay. So I don't know, where are you guys at on that?
I can start. I feel like a price increase is expected pretty much every generation. I think it happens. I think it happens every generation, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but it tends to happen every 6 to 8 years or whatever. And I believe it's a $10 difference, right?
Yeah.
From previous generation to this generation. Now, look, I don't think his explanation makes a ton of sense because what you're playing, he's using Demon Souls, which is a remake, right? It's like a remake from a previous game, so it's like it's the same game, but we're
All
gonna
right.
charge you a little more because the graphics are a little better. I don't think his explanation makes a ton of sense. I think what makes a ton of sense is that being that it's a new generation and that the graphics and everything is going to be a little more resource heavy, we're gonna need bigger computers, like more tech to develop these games. We're gonna need more people because like increasing graphics, increase in level design and whatnot. I think in terms of that, it makes a ton of sense because we know that it gets more expensive to create games that are more like resource heavy and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I don't have a huge problem. I mean, I understand it sucks to have a price increase, but I think we can expect it when we're getting bigger, better, prettier games with each new kind of like generation of consoles. Now, the one thing that struck to me over there though is if you look at the price, see that it's $70 and 70 pounds. Is it 70
Mhm.
pounds in the UK? Because that's freaking crazy.
I
Yeah.
think I swear I bought it for 60.
That would make more sense. Because
But
if it
if
if
he
it's
if and this is like on because I wrote about it for the Gamestinger website, and he did say that it's going to be like the same price, but depending what comes out. So I don't know if Demon Souls came out at different prices in different places, and then later on everything's going to be like at 70. But that Miles Morales was 50
Mm.
Yeah,
here.
that was
And
cheaper.
it's usually, yeah, and then it's usually 60 in America, new games. It's
right.
usually 50 here.
But Miles Morales is, I think, cheaper. It's like $20 cheaper than a full game. I
Yeah, so you've got like 8 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, that's right. But that's guys in the UK pay a pretty penny for a game because 70 pounds, if that is the price, that's like $100 or so
Mm.
in the US. But yeah, what do you guys, James and Reese, think about this whole price increase? You guys are okay with that, or you guys are really pissed off by it?
I expect it, but it's like it kind of ups the. I don't want to say up the stakes or anything, but it's like it's a $70 game now. You can't release a game that has a bunch of bugs and because you're paying more for the game than you did last generation. So this game has to be near perfect when you're releasing and stuff. You can't release a $70 game and it plays like Fallout 3 when it was first released and shit, you know? So, it's going to make players more like, I don't want to say it's going to make them, but they can kind of be like more aggressive about why did you release this buggy ass game and I paid $70 for this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and developers, nowadays, they're getting threats, they're being more open about, you know, criticism and stuff. And it's like, I paid $70 for this game. It's most likely digital, so if it sucks, I can't give it.
Oh,
You
did
got
we?
to release a near perfect game, and developers don't usually do that. They'll release a game that.
I, I think James is cutting in and out. But oh,
Yeah.
we
Go
might have lost him. He might come back. But yeah, I hear what he's saying. It's
Yeah,
the stakes are higher. Oh, you're there,
on.
James. Okay, go on. You just got out for a second. He's pulling a disappearing act on us.
That's all right. I'll throw up Huey.
Uh, maybe we could. Yeah. Oh, hey, James. You're going like in and
yeah,
out. It's all good, but I get your point
yeah,
though.
my
Like,
internet.
yeah, like the stakes are higher now. You're paying more, so you expect more. And will the developers come true on that promise? We're gonna have to see because we already know, like we've been talking a lot about Cyberpunk and how it keeps getting delayed, and it's kind of more like a newish generation kind of game, and we all expect it to be buggy as hell. But upon release, they're gonna charge us the full $70, and so we will see if it lives up to
Mhm.
the billing or not. I'll pass it over to Reese. Reese, what do you think about the price hike
I
or the?
think it depends how long it takes to make. Like it should depend how long it takes to
Mm.
make because a remake will take considerably less time to make a, say, Cyberpunk game. But fair, the Demon Souls was made in originally made in 2008, and then the remakes with Resident Evil and Final Fantasy VII, they're basically new games. But if they're just literally remaking, I can't think of any example, but if it's just like a fresh coat of paint
Crash
from whatever
Bandicoot.
to so yeah, and then it seems that hike isn't worth it. But a new game, I'd probably happily pay that price.
If Madden
Yeah,
starts charging $70, there will be riots.
they
They
will.
had a price increase for Call of Duty as well for
Yep.
the next gen. I don't see that as a good thing. I think that's stupid.
That'd be a tough sell.
Because if they keep on doing that, they'll definitely lose more of their fan base than usual every year.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing to consider in this. So there's a certain game price increase to be expected naturally, just because of inflation. So we know that the price of everything goes up every year. You go to the grocery store, you might not notice it, but your box of cereal is 25, 40, 40 cents more expensive or whatever, because of inflation. Your salary goes up, the price of stuff goes up, everything goes up. The gaming industry is much slower in reacting to actual inflation. They do it, this is why they do it by usually increments of around $10, because they do it every 7 8 years or whatever. I'm not exactly sure, but it seems to be or coincide around with every generation. So that's why they do it in $10 increments, which actually makes a lot of sense just based on inflation. Of course, the Sony CEO is not saying that because most of the the gamer audience probably doesn't really understand what inflation means. I mean, I'm being harsh here, but I mean just to kind of I'm sorry guys. I
They're
know I
all
don't mean to offend
dumb.
anybody. No, but I mean like this is the actual real reason for it. I would say the real reason is because of inflation and because of higher tech, and it takes longer to develop the games. But like
Yeah.
over time, like all these workers that you have working in video game, like companies, like their salaries increased, right? From when they started working there, let's say in 2013, when they were making PS4 games, to now their salary probably increased by like, let's say, $10,000.
Especially CG Project Red, they're
Yeah,
making moolah.
yeah, because they're paying people, they're paying people not a lot of money. But no, I didn't mean to insult anybody. But
Every gamer.
I'm just saying that the audience, the gaming audience, is not like a financial audience that would read a newspaper and be more familiar with terms like inflation and what exactly that means and so on. So the Sony CEO is just trying to keep it simple in terms of his explanation, but it makes less sense as a result of what he's saying. Like, oh, the hours of entertainment. Because let's be honest, you could play Final Fantasy VII on the PS1, and you could get how many hours of entertainment, Jeff? Did you get out of Final Fantasy VII on the PS1?
From the age of 7 to 8. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot, but yeah, I think
That's my
I
point.
do think it is a bit of both. To
I'm still playing the original on the Switch.
Really?
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't play the original when it first came out, so I'm just playing it on the Switch.
It's on the
I haven't
Switch.
I haven't got the remake.
How much did you
I
pay
haven't
for?
played that yet.
How much was it on the Switch?
The original, I think, was about. I think it was below 10 or 10. I can't remember. Just about 10 quid.
Yes. Give in to your dark side.
But they've been mentioning this price raise for ages. It started happening slightly at the end of the PS4 with, I think, Crash Bandicoot had like a little bit of a price raise by like £5 here, and a couple of games did start getting that £5 added to it. So it was obviously going to happen, and a lot of the studios were mentioning like the price doesn't work for how much effort's put into something.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense.
For how much time it makes to make a film, it's like twice as much to make a game. It could take like 4 years.
Right.
And
Definitely.
the sub stories saying it could take 8.
Well, if you work for CD Project Red, or you're making a Final Fantasy VII remake, it could take a decade. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I would say that not every industry is the same. So obviously, making a movie might take less time. I mean, it's a different medium. Perhaps video game developers are starting to get a little greedy now. They're starting to expect those big Hollywood dollars to come their way. I'm not sure, but video games have always been, like just in terms of earning. I mean, maybe recently it's not. It's starting to turn around, but in terms of earning, it was always a little less than what Hollywood movies make, simply because the gamer pool is a little smaller than the movie pool. Like there's people from all over the world, young, old, whoever, watch movies. But I think also that video game developers make up some of that margin that they lose in terms of how long it takes to make the game. In terms of like things like like all the crap that you buy like the pay for play, buying loot boxes and all that stuff, like that is not factored into the price for the game, right? But video game developers can make a killing, which movie developers they can. They just charge for the movie and then that's
merchandise,
it.
T-shirts, posters, all that kind of shit. Action
That can
figures.
ruin a game now if you look at what happened to Marvel Avengers. Square Enix lost like stupid amount of money
Trying to make those action figures.
because they put like loot boxes in it and everything. They lost loads of money, even though they're trying to bring people back.
Yeah, it can backfire for sure. But I'm just saying, look in the case of Fortnite, for example, right? And some other games too.
I suppose that's free, so maybe a little bit different.
Is it? Is it free? Well, which
Fortnite's
game?
free.
Fortnite's free.
Fortnite,
Yeah.
the game itself is free, but there's stuff you gotta buy and stuff.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
You don't have to, right?
Yeah, you don't have to. It's
But
just that
even
most
if-
of the fan base is like crackheads.
He fades in and out for 5 minutes and comes in and adds crackheads to the conversation.
They even starting to include like product placement now in video games. What's a very film and TV show thing, but I found weird because I started playing Miles Morales yesterday, and it was like first 2 hours in, I saw so many different like things they were promoting.
Yeah,
It's
NBA.
like if I'm
We
paying
talked about
£50 for a game, I don't want to see like Adidas spread everywhere.
that's how we were talking about it last week. But NBA 2K, they have
Oh yeah,
advertisements everywhere.
I expect it from them though.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
expect it from
weird though, because
Spider-Man.
like the old sports games, they just like had the advertisement like in the background. They didn't just like here's an ad for you. It's like I'm playing a motherfucking game. Why won't you look at commercials, man? Get this shit
Yeah,
out
no
of here.
shit.
Especially if you're paying
I already
$70,
paid for the
you don't
game.
want to.
I already paid $90 for this game, and now you're gonna dump some commercials on me. Like seriously,
Yeah.
it's
And it's weird if they did it like mobile, and it's like you bought like the the super version of this. It's like $90 and stuff. And it's like, yeah, we don't put any ads in this shit. It's like, come on, don't do me like that.
You gotta pay a subscription fee to get your ads out of the game, but you've already paid 70 quid for.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it was going that way, really. Man, it'd be like we could put. Did you know that gamers would sit in front of a game for hours? We could run this many commercials, and they're not gonna move from the TV because they're playing the game. I could be surprised if it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it reached that. Man. Like we're gonna put ads in here.
So, I mean,
That's what
In all games.
That's what they do with streaming services now.
yeah.
They've changed that, put that into Twitch.
Oh man.
The ads come up randomly when you're watching like a Twitch when it isn't live. If you're rewatching it and you're not either following him or something, you get an ad in between.
Bitches.
yeah, it's definitely gonna reach a next level type of commercial. Dropping on the audience. I'm sure we're gonna see tons of it, and I mean like, it all depends on the audience's willingness to put up with it. And I feel like video gamers, once they're hooked inside a game, if there's a commercial or 3 or whatever, I'm not sure they really care a ton. They're gonna whine about it. Oh, commercials, but they're still gonna play it. And I feel like developers probably know that, and this could be a way to kind of really make bank.
I think it's how they put the commercials in, because if you're like approaching a main boss, and it's like you see the main boss in the distance, and they cut to commercial like, here's a commercial for kneecaps or something like that, man. Like,
skip this part.
But they could give you. This is the thing, right? So
You want an extra health potion? Watch an extra commercial.
You know,
I'm just gonna make a game and call it the commercial.
Yeah, you know, we joke about this, but could be a real possibility. You know, and they could, of course, they could put geared commercials in the game, so the commercials could vary based on who was playing it and so on, right? Just kind of like you see on Facebook and whatnot. So you could see that commercial that you really want to see, just as you're about to face off with that. Which honestly, if they do that, like that's when I'm gonna start thinking about playing much less games. But we'll see if it ever.
When people are playing Madden, I just want them to be hit with like that commercial about the diabetes. You know, I just want them to be constantly hit with that commercial, man. That's all I want, man.
I'm Wilford Brimley, and I have diabetes.
It's time for diabetes.
You want to catch this pass, you watch this commercial.
Oh man, they did it like that. Like your success depends on if you sit and watch this 20-second commercial.
100% success rate.
Fuck that commercial.
And then you skip it and you drop the ball. Fuck! It's not even funny. Man. It's true. It's gonna happen.
Do you see that the first game, what will do this, is gonna fail and could just kill it completely? Because I see so many failed projects what try to put loot boxes in, like Shadow War, this Marvel Avengers, Battlefront 2, all these failed projects. What people can take inspiration from them and say, no, just skip it. Because as soon as they took their examples of games, what they actually took the loot boxes out of and made good games. Battlefront 2 is considered as one of the best Star Wars games after they took the loot boxes out.
Yeah.
And this Marvel game could have done that if they did it, but it's Disney and they're not going to do that.
What were even the loot boxes in Marvel Avengers? What would you have to unlock?
It's for the skins, I think. For like the Marvel comic inspired skins. So all that kind of stuff for the online.
I just got a little woozy.
And I think most of the power-ups you get online as well were for that. Obviously, a lot of ongoing players have gone because of it. It's just a lot of reviews were saying that it feels like a mixed game, like a passion project for Marvel comics, and then a cash grab at the same time.
Weird.
Bit of mixed game. That's why the players have plummeted.
Now we kind of got off on a little tangent here. we went off talking about just the price increase for this whole conversation about loot boxes and what. I don't even know how we got into this. I mean, I guess it's related. More money for video game developers and ads into games and stuff.
We all agreed that it was all right. The price increase as well.
Yeah. I think we all agree that it's not that we like it, but that it's just inevitable. It's going to happen. I forget the last time we had a price increase. Was it when they released the PS4 and Xbox One? Was that the last time?
Because that went up to $49.99, and before that it was like, was that $39.99 or $30?
Oh, really?
I think it was $39.99
through that generation, or is it just a complete jump like this?
I think last generation it was like what? It was 60, and before that it was like $49.99 or something.
I can't remember buying the Killzone for PS4 when it first came out, paying that much for it.
Yeah, and then the generation before that it was like $39.99, unless you were trying to get a Square Enix game, which was like fucking $60 or $70. So it's like.
I always think Square Enix are a good company, and then I just think of that, and I'm like, shit, they're bastards.
Why? They're arrogant pricks, aren't they? Square Enix.
I think it was something with those being imported games that had to be like localized and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean like $60 in 1996 or so, man. It's like
basically their whole market for RPG.
This says that when PS2 came out, the average cost was anywhere between $20 to $49.99, depending on the game. Big name games were closer to 40. Regular editions were closer to 20.
So that's basically what's going to happen with this.
I can't find like an actual, like the cost of a game though. Why was it?
Yeah, it was likely lower. We've had a few price increases for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much was San Andreas? Like how much did I pay for that when it came out? I can't imagine it was more than like $30.
I feel like it was 49 Canadian, so probably around 39 American.
Really? That seems like a lot for 2003, 2004.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it does. Now that I think about it, but yeah, I mean, like, how much were Super Nintendo games? Do we remember? Do you remember, James? How much Super Nintendo games were?
I don't say they were between 39 and 49. Because
So-
they was still working with like outdated. Well, I don't want to say it was outdated. Yeah, it was outdated. They were still using cartridges,
Yeah,
and
so
everything had moved to CDs back then. So it cost more for them to like put the game out and stuff.
yeah, just for the cartridge, it was it just bumped up kind of like the base price. Because CDs are obviously cheap, especially after like 1995, they became really cheap to make. Cartridges still more expensive. But it's interesting because it doesn't seem like the price of games has really fluctuated a ton. Like it's not like like back in Super Nintendo, games were $9.99, then N64 $19.99, and then after that GameCube $29, and no, they were always like around between 20 and like $40 or so throughout the generation, which is not like a crazy like difference.
I want to say that a PS2 game was probably like $29.99.
Yeah, it's possible. Look, I don't know why. I don't remember for sure. I feel like I should.
I don't know why I can't find the. Oh, look at this graph. Anyways, I'm spending
And
too
they
much
usually
time on
do go
this.
down in price, don't they? Like after like half a year, they're out.
Right.
And it's like the only company that doesn't do that is Nintendo, when they still have like all their games at 50 here.
It's true. But we're looking.
Anyways,
we're looking at like release date prices, kind of like the price, like the full price, right?
right.
So it says here, if I look at game facts, to all gamers, how much did PS2 games cost at release? $49.99 for most regular retail releases.
$50?
This is what it says. And the $29.99 release price is what Sony forced upon games that were older ports, like Street Fighter compilations and certain 2D. Now, I'm not sure how accurate this is. This is just on a forum here. But, yeah, so someone is asking specifically how much PS2 games cost at release. So it seems to be around that range that we're talking about.
That's crazy.
I know. Crazy, right? I mean, so there's multiple reasons for it. Obviously, PS2 games were older, but the technology was a little perhaps newer back then, CDs and whatnot. So it perhaps cost more just to have those games on the CDs and stuff like that back then. So I don't know. There could be a bunch of reasons to explain it. And I think that we lost James. I think his battery ran out. So maybe. Oh,
Nope.
and now we're
Typical.
all discombobulated.
I do
We're
hope the
all-
extra money goes towards developing games, not just, say, the CEO.
Right. It goes back into the games instead
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
That's what some places do mention. They always mention, like...
Before we go on to our
price
next.
goes
Before we go on to our next topic, can we just bitch about James for a minute?
I feel like his battery always goes out.
I feel like
There
he
you
should
go.
just get on the computer like a normal person. You tell him I said that. All right. So
All right,
while
here
we're
we go.
while
Skype saying he was running out of battery.
Yeah, he ran out of battery.
while I'm readjusting the cameras, let's go on to the next topic.
Do it.
The new 007 game, rumor, but I don't think it's a rumor. I think it's an actual thing.
All right.
And I'll switch over because supposedly there's a trailer. I don't know if anybody saw it.
I have not. So let's play it.
There's a teaser.
A teaser.
Yeah. So it's just like a little picture.
We're still a little discombobulated here.
Yeah.
Picture.
Okay, here's watch the teaser and I'll fix the cameras.
Yeah, let's do it.
To everyone who dreams of being a DJ,
God damn it, fucking ads.
dream bigger.
Go get Fuser, the new
With Fuser, now
DJ
anyone
game.
can be
What
a
the hell?
DJ.
It's an actual DJ game.
I'm actually kind of curious, but all right.
That was announced on Nintendo.
All right, 007. I'm kind of excited. IO Interactive presents.
I've already watched it, so
Oh,
I'm not that excited.
oh, oh! Look at that! It's a bullet
Oh, duh.
in the chamber of a god. You know that's a song. But you guys probably don't know. Okay, now it's
Oh, I'm fucking into this.
Is that it?
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
It's a teaser. That's the only kind of thing you get, and that kind of.
Oh my god, are
I
you
did
kidding
warn
me?
you.
I was
It's
like,
made by the Hitman developers.
I was getting all excited. I was like, yes,
As soon as
something is
that-
about to
To everyone
happen.
who
As
dreams
soon as
of
that
being a
music-
And then
DJ,
we get more ads. What the hell?
As soon as
I
that
am-
music started, I was fucking in.
I didn't hear any music.
Oh,
maybe
sorry.
The sound wasn't playing, but I don't. I just like I've been. Yeah, tell me about it being a teaser. I've been teased, and now I'm just frustrated.
I hope that this brings 007 back to its original glory. When you were back, I just fucking played GoldenEye on the N64 like 3 days ago because I can, because I have a 64 again, and it's amazing still. Like those,
It is. It's
um,
amazing. That game is just.
even-
That game will never die.
even Nightfire after the one after Nightfire was still good. It's like well, you had that string while Pierce Brosnan was 007 of these great string of games, and then the Daniel Craig film came out, and it was amazing. Casino Royale is fantastic. I like him, but the games took this weird turn, and it went into like this third-person action weird thing, and it just fell apart. Quantum of Solace was complete dog shit. It's just the last like 4 007 games have been fucking trash.
Now,
And
now
so
here's the thing: who made the last few games? Was it IO Interactive or was it a different company?
EA. EA.
It was EA. Well,
that's
that explains
fucking
it.
why.
That's
They were
why. Okay.
horrible. I hope that this can recapture that old glory because they used to have such good games.
But,
It's going to
here's-
be an origin of the 007 name.
what?
Like, it's going to be an origin of the 007 kind of name. You know, the code kind of name. That's what's been mentioned. That's the only information we've got, and it's good. And it seems like it's going to be like a third-person game because that's all the games
Oh,
that
something.
EO make.
Something happened again.
This fucking guy.
Did James rejoin?
Yeah,
Oh, hey James.
Hello.
this
Hey,
fucking
what
guy.
the- now we're all screwed up again. Okay, you can try fixing it, Jeff. I'm just so it's gonna be a third person game from what we understand. Is that right, Reese?
Yeah, looking at the games what IO make, they're all third person. So there's just speculation that it's going to be third person
right.
because they've made Hitman, Mini Ninja, and Kane and Lynch, and all of them are third person.
What
Right.
if they're like, you know what? We're gonna go fucking first person on this. We're gonna flip it around.
If that's going to happen, we're not going to see the game for like 4 years.
I don't
when
care.
when they change how they're going to develop a game, it takes the studio ages to get it right.
If they can make a good
They'll reckon they
007
announce
game,
it otherwise.
I will wait.
You know,
I will not.
okay. I'm okay with it being third person personally, because well, first of all, I think that Hitman itself is probably a good base for a 007 game. I don't know what you guys think,
Anyone
but
played the latest ones?
Yeah.
like it's kind of like the spy stealth kind of thing, right? You use all kinds of gadgets. I mean, Hitman is basically a more violent 007 in a lot of ways. Like this guy travels all over the world just to kill people in the most creative, unique ways possible.
He just
The new
doesn't
one was
have.
great as well.
That's
And then there's the third one coming in January. Hitman.
Hitman
Right on.
just doesn't get the hot bitches. That's about the. And he's not as.
Well, because he is a bald dude with a freaking mark on
He's
his
like
neck.
emotional.
I thought
Whoa.
that barcode tattoo was badass, really.
I do think it's badass.
What's
you know,
wrong with
but
bald dudes?
There's nothing wrong with bald dudes. I'm
Jesus.
normally a bald dude, but
Man.
you know, I'm just he. Yeah, I don't know. It's different. You know, he doesn't have that smooth talking. He's not Hitman is not British, right? The dude, he's American.
I don't know. In the film, he's British, I think.
Yeah.
And the new one. Not the
Oh, yeah.
2007 one. 2007 one's Timothy Oliphant. He's a badass, but the movie kind of sucks.
You know what? The reason Hitman doesn't get any holes, man, is that he's very nondescript.
Yeah,
And he has the personality of a McDonald's sausage patty. Right? That's the only reason why, man.
true. He doesn't. Let's be honest. He doesn't really try, right?
McDonald's sausage patty.
He doesn't really put himself out there, with the hose, as you say.
I think he could. If he had the, yeah, he could if he wanted to. I bet. Not as
Yeah,
good as not as good as
not,
James
Not
Bond.
as good. Yeah, right. But he probably could get his fair share.
Yeah.
I was just,
I mean, he's a badass.
I was just
he
thinking
gets
about
done.
you without your clothes on, and then they fucking the panties drop.
Yeah, I mean, this is James Bond 007, man. He's like neck deep in puss, man. It's like this hitman isn't gonna do that shit.
Yes. This is the game I want. It's just 007 3D sex. Sex escapades. Sex game. Take over the role as James Bond in first person as you thrust your way through Russia.
Yeah, yeah. Because they had a movie called no, they had a character in it called like what was it, Octopus or something, man?
Pussy galore.
Pussy Galore. Yeah.
Oh God.
Fuck yeah.
This conversation took an interesting turn.
Well, I mean, this is what James Bond does.
Well, yes, it's usually described a little differently, but
I don't think so.
This is what he does. It's kind of true.
Who are
yeah.
you? I'm you from the
So,
future.
are we still watching that trailer? Because there
I
wasn't
was-
much going on.
Yeah, I was gonna play it one more time just to see if there was anything else. But first, we have to hear from
I
Captain
did
Obvious.
not see anything.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
There's nothing else, and that's just. Well, I guess it shows us that this is like when they say teaser, they really mean that. There's, there's not really anything concrete to show us. We don't have a date or anything for this, right? It's just
No.
this is gonna happen at some point, guys. Get excited.
It could be late next year or the year after because they're releasing the game in January.
Right.
But the
So-
Game Awards are coming up, so maybe you might see gameplay.
It says, given the Casino Royale features Bond earning 00 status, there has been a series of young Bond books written by writer Charlie Higson. So it could be based on that.
Oh my goodness.
I thought it might be like you create your own character because I can't see him making a character who's going to be the first James Bond. know what I mean?
I don't think I'd like that.
You know what?
I don't enjoy when you make your own character in any game anyway. Feels like it takes a lot from their story.
And they can't, like... Yeah, they can't put you into the story. Like, half the time they don't even do the voiceover anymore because...
Yeah, that's what makes it the worst kind of thing about games today, where when you can create your character, it's like, oh yeah, you can be in this game, but then it's like, yeah, you can't speak though.
I just hate how long it takes to make your face, make your eyebrows, make your hair. I feel like
And
it
then-
takes like an hour just before you get into the game for useless crap that I absolutely hate doing.
And then you wear a helmet.
Shit, man.
Randomize. Randomize button.
I was playing Saints Row, man, and they got where you could like edit the character's voice even.
Yeah,
And his-
that's good.
Oh,
And his
my
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's giving props to Cyberpunk. You could make your Saints Row character have a huge dong.
Yes.
Nobody's said
You do like
anything.
Cyberpunk as well.
Oh god.
You could. And then you could run around naked and like jump on people and rub your balls in their face.
Yeah. And
I,
also,
I
you,
don't
like,
think you can do that, Cyberpunk.
you could be a pimp, or you could be a prostitute in that game too, man. Saints Row was badass.
Saints Row is badass. Yeah.
Like it was everything I loved about GTA and more, man. It's like,
They just took the ridiculousness a step further.
yeah.
I'm surprised Saints Row isn't bigger on like YouTube because people love putting out these videos doing the dumbest absolute crap on GTA.
That's
Yeah.
Saints
They
Row.
put the last one in hell, didn't they? And they kind of ruined it.
And they had the Alien Invasion one and like 3 or something.
Then they made that Agent Mayhem. That was the last game they made,
Oh yeah.
and it was terrible.
I played the shit out of 2 and 3, and those are awesome.
Yeah,
Man,
I like
two
that.
was
With
like
the,
a
the
clean
Ronin
10
gang.
to me, man. Two was
I think they're
awesome.
making another one. I think there's rumors of another one. I'm not sure though.
We
Well,
could.
Messed up again.
Oh, yeah.
so
Okay, so anything else to say on the 007 front? I mean, I think we said plenty.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's too late.
I don't know. I think we could go on.
Like we talked about pimps, hoes, and everything in between.
He, he had
No,
cool
but
villains too.
yeah. So we don't know much about it. I think we're all pretty excited. We're hoping it's gonna be like GoldenEye, but it sounds like it's gonna be 3D person.
I'm not hoping it's
Third,
going to be one.
yeah, it's gonna be third
I
person.
want it to be.
But it could still be really, really good, right? So, like Hitman games are usually pretty fun. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye out for any news on that. But still pretty cool to see. So next up, we got Street Fighter 6. Yeah. Now this is this was leaked, right? It was information that was leaked supposedly unintentionally, but basically from what I heard, Jeff, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the leak mainly states the important part of the leak states that Street Fighter 6 is coming, and it will be on both PlayStation and Xbox, unlike Street Fighter 5, which was basically a Sony PlayStation exclusive. It was actually not a Sony PlayStation exclusive because it was available on PC, but basically just the Xbox didn't get it, which was actually a big problem for Street Fighter 5 sales because the game they had big expectations for Street Fighter 5. The game bombed compared to those expectations. It had Street Fighter 5 had a lot of problems. First off, it didn't really have a proper arcade mode or a proper story mode off the bat. Yeah, it didn't have a proper story mode off the bat like you usually do. You play through the levels and then you get to the end and then there's an ending and stuff like that. It didn't really have that. It took a while to get that in. They didn't make it for the Xbox, so it severely limited its impact and potential, especially in America, as a result. So just a lot of bad moves that Capcom made. Now they made those moves, I believe, because Sony actually paid Capcom some money to keep the game as a PlayStation exclusive on the consoles. But regardless of that, I think that was a terrible move for Capcom in general. The game didn't do quite as well as it should have. So it seems like it's going to be different on Street Fighter 6, and I think that's kind of a good news.
I'm not
So
a Street Fighter
Yeah,
guy.
Street Fighter feels like it would be more of an Xbox game. I don't know why.
it was, Reese, on the previous version on Street Fighter 4, lots of American players, because Americans play Xbox, and you guys in the UK too. You guys like the Xbox a lot, just as much, if not more, than the PlayStation. And generally, the Xbox, I think, is on par, if not outsells the PlayStation in the States. But in the rest of the world, of course, it's PlayStation all the way. But the point being is that for Street Fighter 4, I think a lot of US players played it on Xbox 360. And those players were forced to get PlayStation 4s on, for Street Fighter 5. So, maybe this will bring the players back to Xbox. I don't know. But, and also maybe now we can get some console versus console, like, intra console or whatever competition, so to speak, which I don't think we were getting that on the Xbox 360 version.
Oh, this was part of a massive Capcom leak, but also leaked like 10 other games. It was like part of a massive leak.
What were the 10 other games?
It's like it
Dragons.
leaked Resident Evil Outbreak, Dragon's Dogma 2, Street Fighter 6, Rocketman, Resident Evil 4 remake.
Oh, that list is
It was all
full.
there.
There's some sauce on this list here.
And then they did the source code for 2 games also got leaked.
Final Fight remake, hell
Yeah, I'm looking at
yeah!
it, yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
Power Stone. Oh
What's
no, that's a
Resident
remake.
Evil Hank?
I mean, I would
Resident
play
Evil
Power Stone,
Hank
but
or Hunk. Interesting.
I'm not seeing Breath of Fire or anything, so it's like,
I
And
know.
Resident Evil Outbreak.
Yeah, Biohazard Apocalypse. Interesting.
What
So okay, so we get the dates here. That's really awesome for all these
quarters?
breaks, for all these leaks. Now, Reese, did Capcom release this on purpose, or was this?
No, this was a hack or like a massive leak.
All right, so it was someone
Like
hacked.
half of these games weren't even announced or anything yet.
Right.
Not more than
Okay.
half of these games. Nearly all these games didn't really know much about. Resident Evil 4, I think, was one of the early ones we knew about.
you could tell it's a leak because like after Cyberpunk, I mean after CD Projekt announced like Cyberpunk is coming, you're not gonna announce games that are like 3 or 4 years off, man. That's just not wise right now.
It's true. That's kind of what I was thinking.
And
Like
it's source code as well. And I think that's the actual code what they made the game with. What usually never comes out.
what? Sorry.
Ransomware attacks.
Like
Oh.
the source code of the actual game
Oh, right, right.
that usually never comes out to people because it's like people could probably copy the game if they had the source code or something like that.
Yo, they wanted a ransom for them not to release this shit. Like,
Oh my god.
Yeah, it
Damn.
says
So this is pretty hardcore stuff here. This is a real hack.
the attack destroyed and encrypted data on Capcom servers, and criminal organization Ragnar Locker messaged the company demanding a money ransom for the information.
Damn, that's insane, guys.
Capcom says it will continue coordinating with law enforcement in Japan and the United States and is still gauging the overall damage caused by the attack.
Oh, Resident Evil Outbreak's another old Resident Evil game.
Yeah, that's insane. Wow. So they not only hacked into it, they kind of destroyed and were threatening to destroy more information. Wow. Interesting. Ragnar
Gamestingr.
Locker.
You know what? I'm gonna give Gamestinger its first conspiracy theory.
What's up?
Let's hear it.
Ragnar Locker is actually SNK. There you go. SNK is with the shits, man. So it's like,
But here's the thing, James. So SNK is like a competitor to Capcom in a lot of ways.
yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, outside of perhaps some of the information that was destroyed, is this leak? And okay, fine. It definitely sounds like Capcom did not leak this. Like it was some illegal activity took place. But is this leak itself, in general, bad news for Capcom, or is it perhaps not so bad? Because leaks sometimes.
Mhm.
Like we know that sometimes leaks happen by the companies themselves. Oh, it's a massive leak. Oh my god, and people get excited like what's going on. Like I said, this doesn't appear to be the case, but leaks can serve to energize a fan base in terms of what's going to come in the future. So is this really bad outside of perhaps the information that was destroyed, or is it not so bad? What do you guys think about that?
I think they could have planned like they've probably planned if with this the next 4 years of their company, and now everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Like they've got 4 games coming out around about that every 4 now for the next 4 years, and they can't market that the same because it's all been leaked.
Yeah.
There's an article here from an IT guy from June detailing Ragnar Locker malware, what it is, how it works, and how to prevent it. This was from almost 6 months ago from an IT specialist.
I should have read this article before.
It is incredibly detailed, and I've taken Google's IT course, and this is pretty in depth.
I'm sure someone
Quite
showed this
important.
to someone at Capcom, and they said, "We're not reading that shit. Come on, man." Like, you should.
Nah, we're good.
Yeah, but I think like what Reese said, it fucks up their marketing. But for gamers who have played like Capcom games for a long time, it's not so bad because Capcom is known for like really just running with 3 different franchises over and over, knowing that there's something else that they're working on. It's like Mega Man. Well,
Yeah, that's cool. What's
I'm not a
SSF6?
Capcom really fan, so I'm not really that bothered. So I'm just like, yeah, just in a marketing way, it's shit. But if everyone knows what everything's coming out anyway, it doesn't really make a difference. They'll probably do exactly the same thing, and they could change this. Like nothing's set in stone when they have a release schedule like this. I can't see this all happening how they thought it was going to anyway.
Exactly.
But it's the
What's
source code what could hurt him a lot because that's what. When that happened with Nintendo, that's how people knew that Luigi was in the first 3D Mario game and stuff like that.
what's SSF or SSF?
Super Street Fighter 6.
Oh, super.
yeah.
So that's just
So it's just like a different version, more characters and some changes, and there's Ultra Street Fighter
like the
6.
year after. Maybe they're preparing from becoming Game of the Year, and that's their Game of the Year edition.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
Capcom used to do that all the time. It was like Hyper Edition, Championship Edition, Super Edition.
Yeah. Capcom
Yeah, they
loves giving you 10 editions of the same game.
Every year they're releasing a new Street Fighter.
They are, but it's the same game. just
This
a few more
is why I don't like Capcom.
I'm not a Capcom guy apparently because Resident Evil. That's about all my Capcom experience. I've played Street Fighter.
Devil May Cry.
I've played Mega Man, but they're not in my
Devil May Cry
wheelhouse.
is Capcom, isn't it?
What?
Devil May Cry.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I think that and Resident Evil's the ones I usually play. But I've got Devil May Cry 5 and I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised Devil May Cry is not on that list. It's been a while since there was a Devil May Cry release, right? Which I think was a remake. The last
Year or
one.
two ago. No, it was 5 last time.
Yeah, I thought 5
yeah.
just came out.
Yeah, they've just re-released it with DLC
Onimusha.
for the next gen.
Onimusha, yes. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a while. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see it return. What about Dino Crisis while we're at it?
Oh man, don't get me started on Dino Crisis, man. Shit, that's Resident Evil with dinosaurs. I could fuck with that.
Well, Onimusha is Resident Evil with samurais. It's
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
That's
It's
all it
freaking
is.
awesome. Yeah, so I see what you guys are saying. It's potentially bad. I mean, Capcom could play around with it. They could either rename some of those games, they could change things around. Obviously, some of them are like 3 or so years away, so I'm sure that there's enough for them to work with to still keep the hype up, I guess, in terms of that. Now, look, this is the other thing. We knew some of these games were releasing anyways. We knew there was going to be another Resident Evil or 2 or 3 or 4. Capcom always does this anyways. How many Resident Evils were released on the PS4? 10, 15? It's hard to keep track. We knew Street Fighter 6 was coming, and we knew that it was probably going to be in around 2 or so years because if you look at Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 4 came out in 2008. Street Fighter 5 came out in 2016. It was about an 8-year gap. So now we're talking about a 6-year gap or so. But that is the range for what we're looking at in terms of a new Street Fighter game. So we knew some of these games were coming out. I'm excited for the Final Fight remake, actually. It's a game
Monster Hunter 6 is quite surprising.
What's that?
Monster Hunter.
Yeah. It's
I was
not...
surprised.
Yeah, that it's not my. Maybe I'll just leave it up. Like, you can talk more about it. It's not a game I play a ton.
I haven't played it. I was just surprised that it's got leaked.
Like I like Monster Hunter. It's like Capcom's like constant at the moment. It's a consistent franchise for them because like Street Fighter.
They've been supporting that game for ages as well. The last one.
Because there was a period where it just like when the first one came out, it was just like this is a good concept, but you know, if it had something like online, it would probably be better and stuff. And then once online became bigger and stuff, they added they ran with Monster Hunter and it worked. It just popped. Street Fighter is like after so many, you can get like hit or miss with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like with Mortal Kombat when they try to go outside of the fighting realm, and it was like, here's Sub Zero. Here's a game purely about Sub Zero. It's like, ain't nobody asked for that, man. We want more fighting. So it's like,
I don't
But
remember
here-
asking for this.
yeah,
Here's the thing with Street Fighter. So Street Fighter has slowly become an like kind of like e-sports, mainly only. It's mainly an esports game, and that's what they're doing. So at this point, Capcom, I feel like their concern, their main concern, is to just release a new update every so years, just to kind of keep up the hype of this game. But I feel like they know exactly what they want from Street Fighter, which is to make it this competitive fighting game with each release. Mortal Kombat does that, but perhaps appeals a little more to a casual audience. Now, maybe Capcom is going, because was perhaps one of the criticism of Street Fighter Five and perhaps Street Fighter in recent years. It appeals a little less to the casuals than it does to the more hardcore esports audience. At least in my opinion. Now, some people could feel differently about that, but I feel like it's definitely something that Capcom wants to do with Street Fighter. So yeah, Capcom doesn't Mortal Kombat. They kind of do these wild things, Sub Zero's mythologies and wild things like that. Street Fighter doesn't do a ton of those, generally, and I feel like they're doing less now because I feel like they have this very narrow kind of path with these games, and so they, as long as they keep these games simple enough, to kind of, for them to have an impact in the esports kind of realm, I think that's their main goal.
yeah. I think Capcom figured out that there's nothing else you can really do with Street Fighter outside of a fighting game because they did Puzzle Fighter during like the late '90s and stuff.
Yeah,
And
they
then
did.
they tried to make like a video game off the Street Fighter movie, which was ass.
I
So it's
love
like,
it. I love that game.
you like the game?
I did. It had Sawada from the movie. I love that character. I know a lot of people hate Street Fighter the movie game, but I don't know, man. Back then, the graphics were like so real for the game. It was awesome. But yeah, the gameplay was a little.
Yeah, it was the gameplay that fucked it up. It was like, what is this, and why does it exist? But other than that, like the game, I was like, if they could do this or
looked good.
something else with this game, it's like,
It looked good. It looked good.
yeah, it gets style points,
Yeah, so massively for Capcom, this is very interesting. We don't get to see a ton of these huge leaks like that, right? Like this is like kind of like the Russians hacking like the US White House like secret documents type of deal, trying to erase, like put some dirt on Joe Biden or something to rig the election or
Yep.
This is in that realm. This is pretty intense.
This makes more sense.
Well, I'm just saying it's pretty intense stuff. So, yeah.
All right. You guys ready for the nominations real quick?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me jump over.
Oh, we got sound effects now.
Shut up. All right, so for Game of the Year, we have Animal Crossing. All right. Doom Eternal made it. Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I still think is weird because it's part 1 and it's up for Game of the Year. Even though I love it, it doesn't make much sense to me. Ghost of Tsushima. Hades, which is a big thing in the indie world right now. Indie Gamer.
I've already voted. I voted for that.
Indie Gamer magazine covered it in March. So pretty awesome. And then The Last of Us Part 2 are up for Game of the Year. I don't think it's a very strong list.
No.
Thank you.
Do you not?
I think we spoke about this in the chat, and by the way, this is off our own website, so a lot of times we look at other websites. This is off Gamestinger, baby. So I just wanted to say that. Um, but yeah, it doesn't appear to be a strong list. It seems like it's missing some heavyweight contenders.
Mhm.
It would be like, you're sitting down to watch a heavyweight boxing fight, and then you see like two scrawny little dudes come out, and you're like, what the hell? This was supposed to be a heavyweight battle
Yeah,
here.
Tomato
One of
can
them's got to
number-
win.
Tomato can number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I feel like it's missing a Cyberpunk, a GTA, or like a massive heavy title that we're just not seeing on this list. I will say the ones that stand out to me, Ghost of Tsushima and Doom Eternal. I'm not sure if Doom Eternal is gonna get it simply because, well, I don't feel like it's a game that appeals to everybody. It's a pretty hardcore, violent game, and I don't know if like if you have even the tiniest hint of an epileptic fit, it's the kind of game that will really drive you insane. So I don't know if it's a game for everybody. I think it was a good shooter. It might be missing on that multiplayer experience though. I feel like
It had a multiplayer. It
What's
was
that?
good. Multiplayer was really good.
On Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So, this is maybe more my opinion, but I tried playing the multiplayer, and I didn't really get it. It's not a traditional shooter, right? You kind of put yourself as either the Doom guy, or
Demons.
or the demons, right? And it's kind of like this. It's a different multiplayer. I didn't play it enough, but when I did, maybe it's because I really sucked at it, and so it had a bit of a negative impact on me. But you say you enjoyed it, so look, like I said, maybe people feel really different. It was definitely unique. It was something they did differently. So there's that at least. But the single player was awesome, and I think that it deserves to be on the list based on that. But like I said, I'm not sure that it's the kind of game that wins Game of the Year traditionally, because it's not only a shooter, but it's a pretty hardcore shooter. Like, there's shooters that are kind of more like adventure shooters, and they play out more like RPG elements, like Cyberpunk would be, I guess. And then there's more hardcore shooters, which is what Doom is. So I feel like the most balanced game on that list would be Ghost of Tsushima, in my opinion, also in terms of story and stuff like that. But that's just my opinion. You guys, what do you guys think?
I'm torn. I think between what I think deserves it and what I think will get it, I really think that I think Ghost of Tsushima and Hades, it should be between those two. What I think is going to happen is whatever side of the aisle you are for The Last of Us Part 2, whether you're a critic, whether you're in love with it, I think it's just going to win by default, to be honest.
You think so?
I do.
But I feel like there was massive criticism for that game. Like when it came out, I was reading the comments on it.
I think
and
that's
people
why
were
it'll win.
People were trashing that game. Like people were like, "This is nothing like the first. What did they do to the game that I love? This is ludicrous." So,
I think it'll win because of they don't know what they're talking about. It was a great game, and I see a lot of people now talking like it's not that bad. There's just some weird stuff you gotta get past and all this other stuff.
The reason for them comments felt like it was just like an emotional thing at the time. So I've played the game. I know you probably can't say here because it's bad for people watching, but felt like it was just emotion. The review bombing straight away. It felt like they just watched the first bit of the game and then review bombed it.
Yeah, I could see that. But I mean, with the
I
story,
don't think the last one's gonna win, but still, I'm just saying.
I think it's gonna because of all that. I think it's I don't know what to say without getting in trouble. It's I think it's got that I think it's gonna win.
Yeah, just leave it.
I think it is. But I think Ghost of Tsushima, I think that should have a real shot at it.
Rolling out Animal Crossing.
I'm just throw it in the
between
garbage.
Ghost and Animal Crossing for real. I think Animal Crossing would get it with a roller. You know what I'm saying? Because just because it's 2020.
It's a wrestling.
remember,
It can't do the shit, and then
It's a
Animal Crossing
wrestling
allows
analogy,
you to
by the way, guys.
remember, remember 2020 when we couldn't do anything, but we could farm on Animal Crossing? What a weird year. Give it Game of the Year.
because Animal Crossing was like you have a game that you have like I think Ghost of Tsushima is gonna be like I believe that'd be like Game of the Year, but I think Animal Crossing is like Game of the pandemic. It's like it's the only game that like almost everyone was playing if you had a Switch.
That's
Not everybody
true.
was playing Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's not Ghost doesn't have that same. Everybody can come in and play this. If you suck, you're.
And I think another thing that's
Ghost will be
going.
hard for you.
I mean, there's a point to that with Animal Crossing and how accessible. It's weird. There's three PlayStation exclusives on this list.
Mhm.
Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, and Final Fantasy, all PlayStation exclusives.
Mhm.
Yeah. It
So-
would be weird for a not PlayStation exclusive to squeak out the win here.
Sekiro won last year and God of War won the year before that, and they were PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah, so I mean, but I mean those were better games.
I mean, it's
But
gonna
I
be
mean-
close, but it's a week year, so.
It is a weak year.
But Ghost of
I don't think
Tsushima
it's a weak year.
is in line with those games, Sekiro and God of War. It's more
Yeah.
similar to those games, right? That
Yeah.
seems to be the pattern.
Mhm.
Kind of like strong single player and strong storytelling seem to be the kind of keys here.
Storytelling
But,
is what I think lacked in The Last of Us Part 2. I'm such a huge fan of the first one and
Yeah.
the story and the characters, and I feel like in the second one, they got rid of they're like, fuck the characters, fuck the story,
But
this
but
is what we're doing.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jeff. This is what when I was reading the reviews and stuff, everybody was saying this at the time. People were saying, "What is this game? Has nothing to do with The Last of Us that I like." And I feel like that criticism is pretty damning for a game if they just do away with the story that people like.
Yeah, but people
So-
are being mean, so they're going to give them the award. But that's the thing. It's not like it's a bad game.
Right.
It's just that it's not. It didn't feel like it connected very well.
Okay, so your pick is The Last of Us. Mine is Ghost of Tsushima. James, you're picking Animal Crossing,
Mhm.
Okay.
and you, Reese, you're picking.
Hades.
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 I voted for Hades. I'm looking at it now.
All right.
I actually thought it was a really strong year, like full of different games compared to the usual year when it's just the same.
Well, okay,
Just
so
The Final Fantasy remake was really good. Doom Eternal was really good. Ghost of Tsushima was really good. Hades and Animal Crossing was Animal Crossing, and Last of Us Part 2 was good as well.
yeah, so I don't disagree with you. My point before was mainly that, in terms of the triple A kind of titles, it seemed to be a little lacking this year. You know, like if we had got Cyberpunk and added it to the list, I feel like that would have completed the list more. But I think in terms of overall games that came out this year, I don't think it was necessarily a weak year in general. But like I said, in terms of the real like top heavy kind of like brand recognition, I'm not sure that we're seeing that on this finalist list. So that was more my point that I made before. But
It does look like looking through all the other awards, all them games are going to win a lot.
Yeah.
So they're just in all of them.
Well, even the best game direction is the same list, except for Animal Crossing. You add Half-Life.
yeah,
Go
Alex.
to
I can't believe they put
best
that Miles Morales actor as one of the best performers. Jesus.
best score in music: Doom, Hades, Final Fantasy, Last of Us. Then you switch out one of them and add in Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Best audio design: Doom, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of. It's like the same 3 or 4 games on every single list.
So you
Yeah.
kind of tell who's going. I mean, oh man.
Hayes is definitely gonna win best indie game though, maybe.
I think I
mean, like,
so like
what-
I think Last of Us will win, but I think Hades makes it, and it's not just because I'm the indie gamer, but it's a fucking awesome game.
Whoa.
There is a lot of popularity around that game still. and The Last of Us, no one really talks about anymore. It's what people are talking about still now, isn't it? Because everyone's voting now.
That's a good point, Reese. And
And
I would,
Ghost of Tsushima could come back because of their online support now, but still
Yeah.
not. Final Fantasy VII has that long-term audience always because it's Final Fantasy. Doom Eternal, nothing really there at the minute. Oh, DLC's coming out, so that's fresh as well. But the Hades could have support for years to come. All I see on Twitter still is people drawing the characters.
Mhm.
so that's a good point.
Well, support.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that might be yeah, like I agree. The Last of Us, like no one talks about that at all anymore, and I feel like yeah, even though Ghost of Tsushima got some multiplayer updates and whatnot, I feel like the hype was real when the game released, but it severely died down. I feel like afterwards, and I don't know if it has a lot of momentum right now either. So that could come back against the game.
I didn't even think about this. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's on the list. Wouldn't I would think that would be up for Game of the Year.
No,
Doesn't seem to be.
no.
Why wouldn't
God,
it
no.
be?
When did it come out?
Oh,
Didn't it come out like
It's
last
not
month?
like-
or this
It came
month?
out. It
That
came out like
really
last week, didn't it? Or like
It just came out like 10 days ago, but it's on the
Right.
list. It's
Came
on
out
the.
on-
Oh, man, that'd be
Came
hard. to
out on the
look at
10th.
Game of the year, and it came in like at the end of the year, man. It's like
I'm just.
I don't reckon that Assassin's Creed is better than any of them Game of the Year. Even
Animal
Animal
Crossing.
Crossing, I would say Animal Crossing's better than that.
I think.
For a fan base, I reckon that Animal Crossing's better than that.
I think you could switch the two out.
I don't reckon you could. I would hate it if Assassin's Creed game was in the Game of the Year. Even though I like the
Well, it's
series,
getting it's getting a little personal now.
I hate Ubisoft.
Assassin's
They
Creed is
don't
like
deserve
an
to be in it.
action game, so
It's
it's
a
like,
copy of each year, though, isn't it? So that's probably another reason.
yeah.
yeah.
All the Game of the Year is at least kind of original, even though Sakurai's just slightly like Ghost of Tsushima.
Look, Madden is not even on the best sports game of
Duh,
the year.
it fucking sucks.
People are complaining about Tony Hawk being in Game of the Year as well.
I interviewed
Tony
these
Hawk.
guys. Among Us for best multiplayer.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
Call of Duty Warzone.
Valorant.
Valorant is not going to win, I don't think.
I think Valorant kind of died off now.
Yeah.
Content Creator of the Year, Valkyrie, most likely.
Only like, ongoing one I play now is Apex.
The Indie Gamer magazine.
Best esports game.
Street Fighter's not even on here.
Fortnite.
No,
probably.
it's not. It died. It died down after like the first year and a half.
Valorant.
I mean,
I
like
keep seeing Valorant.
it's hard to say what the best esports game is, right? Because what's the metric? How many people stream it on Twitch? Like, what is really the metric for it?
You know what? If that's the metric, man, The Last of Us shouldn't be up there in Game of the Year because it's like it had a period where people were streaming it on Twitch. Then once they were done with it, you didn't really see
I don't think
The Last of Us anymore.
I don't think it's on there like at all anymore. It's gone. It's gone in the dust.
It doesn't pop. You had to really be looking for someone playing The Last of Us 2. It's not like featured that much. So
I think there's more people playing The Witcher 3 still on Twitch than The Last of Us.
Put that up for Game of the Year.
Right, exactly.
Every year.
Every year, just throwing The Witcher.
That did win the Game of the Year when it came out, I think, didn't it?
I'm pretty sure 2011.
15.
Was it 2015?
Really?
I believe it was. It was maybe 14.
I thought it was 16.
It is
Yeah, it was-
15.
Yeah, it was 15.
Jesus. 5 years ago. I don't think I've even finished it.
Nobody's
Yeah,
finished it.
Yeah, me neither.
and the thing is, they were working on this game after they announced Cyberpunk too. But
Mhm.
it's like
They're still working on The Witcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were actively working on because they announced that they had the license to Cyberpunk in like 2012, I believe.
Yeah, it's been like 8 years.
Right.
That's the big change, isn't it? They're changing from one genre to another, and it takes that's like the average 8 year transition by the sound of it.
Yeah.
Like
I
with God
get,
of War and stuff.
I could do it faster.
That's crazy.
No, but I'm just so that's from like a general perspective. Coming from my independent perspective, like seeing Hades on this list, I've interviewed some of the voice actors, and one of the voice actresses is actually going to guest speak at the Indie Gamer Game Awards in January. So, and
Nice.
like I said, I was covering this way back in March, and
Right.
like seeing it kind of come to life, and then all of a sudden, like over the last couple of months, like I don't know what happened, but it just fucking blew up, and just seeing like Reese did a
Not really
piece. Reese did a piece on the Indie Gamer website about if it could be a nominee, like back in October, and just seeing all of it like come to, it's amazing. I just think it's really fucking cool.
That is really amazing. That's a cool story. No, like really. And like, you know, you don't always see an indie game on this list and stuff. And I mean, like, Reese actually thinks that it has a chance to win. That's really something. So yeah. So you're interviewing someone in January. That's gonna be awesome.
Well,
From
yeah, they sent me their video already, and I've talked to them a lot about the magazine and everything, and so it's just really cool to see it come to life. This was
There's a lot of passion for the indie market, and a lot of people who like the indie market would probably vote for this as well, even if they didn't play the game.
way back in March.
Crazy.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
that's just cool.
So just going back to the games, I think what's interesting is that we all have actually a different game this year. So
I think it could go any way, really. But
like Last
That's
of
why I
Us,
like the nominees so much, because they're so different compared to each one's completely different.
right? So you got your shooter, you got your RPG, you got your indie game, you got your Animal Crossing, whatever genre that is.
simulation, I don't know.
Your life sim.
Yeah, Monopoly wannabe. Yeah, so you got some different genres in there.
What the fuck?
What, Monopoly wannabe?
Monopoly.
Animal Crossing's a Monopoly wannabe.
That's what I feel like it is. I feel like it's a Monopoly. You guys ever play the Monopoly games on like the consoles? It's kind of
Yeah. I played them on console. It's not as fun as like playing it in person and then just like
Flipping the board over.
destroying a 9-year-old trying to like.
Playing Animal Crossing in person seems a lot more fun.
Yeah. Animal Crossing is more. It's less.
I want to be an animal in real life. What the hell?
Yeah, like Animal Crossing
You
is
play a
less,
human
like,
in
morale
Animal
destroying. You know. What
Or
I'm
I want
saying?
to. I want to
Yeah.
talk to animals. I want animals to,
You can do that in real life as well.
but I want the animals to give me bank loans. That doesn't happen.
You can't do that. Oh, have you been to a bank?
What's the main animal in Animal Crossing that gives you the bank loan? Is he a bear? What is
Oh,
he?
Nook,
Raccoon.
A what?
Tom
Raccoon.
Nook, raccoon, who owns the store and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, raccoons are shady.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust them with that loan. Probably high interest.
I played this Animal Crossing, but I did send it back a week after, so I got bored.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, this is kind of like The Sims or Harvest Moon. I played this and I was like,
Oh,
this is
fucking
nothing.
Harvest Moon, dude.
Oh man, don't get me started.
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Valley and shit. Man. Oh,
Game. I had it on GameCube. A Wonderful Life.
Well, this has gone off topic again.
Look at this.
yeah.
That's good shit. You had to fucking feed your cows, and then you could pick between
Has anyone played Viva Pinata before?
the what?
Viva
They-
Pinata.
Yeah. This is what this reminds me of.
This is way better.
I had Harvest Moon. I never played it. It just looked so
I
boring.
did-
I
So
know what it is.
when I was a kid, I had my PS2 and I had a GameCube. When I would get in, I would do some stupid shit, and my parents would like ground me or whatever. They would take my PS2 power cord, and so like I still had to look at my PS2, but I couldn't use it. They were way into psychological warfare. That fucked with me. But
That's smart.
yeah, no, they were evil.
I'm gonna do that to my own kid.
It's fucking terrible. It's worse than just taking the thing because you're like, well, it's gone. No, I had to fucking stare at it. Like, But I had my GameCube and I kept it in my closet for when that happened. So when I get in trouble, I'd quietly pull out my GameCube and I'd sit there and play Harvest Moon without any sound. So I have a deep affinity for Harvest Moon because that was like I was in trouble a lot, so I played Harvest Moon a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jeff.
it's a game that looks boring, but it's extremely addictive once you start making
Oh
progress.
yeah, and then you could like start getting shacked up with the lady, and you can pick
Oh,
between
man,
which
you
one
get
you
all the
want.
cheeks from Harvest Moon,
You can
yeah.
slap the shit out of them. It was awesome. You
We're
can go
getting
fishing.
like Saints Row territory here.
Saints Row, Harvest Moon. I mean, and one before we get out of here, one last thing I wanted to talk about was so I started streaming WoW Classic, and
Is that World of Warcraft?
yeah,
I was getting confused that you were saying wow so many times.
I'm hooked. Wow, because that's what I say in my head every time I turn it on. Wow, really?
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, do you remember the Celeste game?
What?
The indie game Celeste?
Celeste?
Yeah, that was in the Game of the Year nominees in 2018.
Celeste.
It rings a bell.
2018.
I'm sorry, I was just looking at the old nominees for Game of the Year compared to this one.
Let me switch
Like
back over.
2018 was like it's one of the best ones, even though it did have Assassin's Creed Odyssey in it.
What the hell?
Who won in 2018? I forget.
God of War.
God of War. Not a huge fan of God of War winning, but just my opinion.
Probably one of my favorite games.
Yeah,
Boy.
It did have Spider-Man. It was going up against Red Dead Redemption, Monster Hunter, Spider-Man, Celeste, and Assassin's Creed.
but
And I don't really like Red Dead, so
yeah.
That's amazing.
That's a good year right now.
God of War beat out Red Dead?
Yeah, I wouldn't have voted for God of War. I mean, God of War is a great game, but it's too, like, it's very
Look at this guy.
linear. It's very linear,
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at least Ghost of Tsushima is not super linear. God of War is just like, you just go straight. And I feel like
I feel like it was different though compared to all the open world stuff we get now.
I
Yeah,
guess
bold.
nowadays the linear game is different because every game is kind of open world, so it's kind of an interesting.
4 games on that list are open world, because I think Monster Hunter is open world as well.
Every
They-
game is open world. I think God of War is the only
They
game
need
that is
open
really
world.
not.
And Celeste.
Yeah.
Like an RPG element to them.
Every game has RPG elements as well.
Yeah, like
Like
even
playing the same. And then they put the price up as well, and then it's just basically playing the same game with a different skin.
Yeah.
I think Reese has some shit to get off his chest. Maybe we should just.
I'm in a bad mood. I want to play on the PS5.
I mean, what he's saying is technically true, but like that's a very downer way of like looking at video games.
I mean, even Madden's RPG. You're playing a role. I mean, if you wanna go down this road,
Saying that Sakura wasn't open world, really.
yeah,
More than God of War.
yeah.
Yeah, a
You
little bit
can-
more, but all you did was really just go forward to the next boss.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Think
but
of it
I
that
mean,
way.
like, you could choose. If you wanted
Yeah.
to follow or if you wanted to go do the side. If you want to
Yeah.
go do the side mission, get your armor or your perk or whatever, and then go back around.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like a
not-
it's like a
not where,
river.
like, literally straight ahead. Like
It did have open world as well, like Sakura, because when you got to the main bit, you could go to different areas.
that's right.
But that was just in like the Midgard bit. And then there was loads of side
It
quests
was
there.
open world in the same way that Final Fantasy X was open world. It had like, if you look at those maps in Final Fantasy X, it's a straight line through the map, but then it's like little branches off to the side where you can go
Yeah.
in.
Right. All right. So, okay. So all got our winners in. Look, if anybody's still watching out there, you let us know what game you think will win, what game should win. Okay. So we all said which game. I think Jeff, you said which game you think will win and which game you think should win.
Yeah.
Well, let's all say that before we go. So which game we would like to see win and which game we think will win. So, you start, Jeff. Just remind us.
Okay, so I'd like Ghost of Tsushima or Hades to win. I think The Last of Us Part 2 will win.
Okay. I would like. Well, I like Hades to win, honestly, because I'm I would like to see some cred going towards the indie market, in general. But I do think that Ghost of Tsushima will win because it fits the bill in terms of storyline, gameplay, storytelling that we've seen in previous years with the winners. Now, that also could mean that maybe they will go a different route this year simply because they don't want to pick games that are kind of similar. Of course, all the Sony dominance as well. But that's the game I think will win. I would like to see Hades or Doom Eternal win because I'm a big Doom fan as well.
I see Animal Crossing winning, but Hades, I would like to, I see Animal Crossing winning, but I would like Hades. So. Like it's getting style points for me, so it's like
Right on.
Reese?
Oh, sorry. I'm going. I'm just going Hades. Both.
For both.
Yeah.
Going all in.
Yeah.
Even though probably Ghost of Tsushima is going to win, but I'm thinking Hades is going to win.
He's got two answers. That's not fair.
No, I'm thinking Hades is going to win both.
I know. I'm just teasing.
All right.
Imagine if this Final Fantasy VII won.
Oh God, please no.
Yeah, nobody said. Yeah, Final Fantasy. That's the only thing that we didn't say.
That was a massive game when it came out.
But I don't. It's a first part. I don't understand how.
yeah. You know what?
It's still a full game though.
It's a remake.
Basically, going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake 2.
It's a remake.
But it's almost like a whole new game.
Resident Evil 2 remake was in last year's.
Oh yeah.
When the list was made, they probably looked and said we cannot in good confidence put Assassin's Creed as a candidate to win, man. So let's go ahead and run Final Fantasy again.
I don't understand all the hate. I'm just surprised.
I even like the Assassin's Creed game.
I'm just surprised that more of like a bigger title franchise like that isn't considered. It's surprising to me.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to make it that there's different games in it, because there's a lot of complaints every year that there's always the same games
Yeah.
in the nominees. So I wouldn't be surprised that them going out their way and putting these games in.
The issue.
Does anyone know how they pick?
What's that?
How do they pick these nominees? Is it just that Jeff guy just in a room picking?
Probably.
The latest tweet and scrolling down to the first one he sees.
It's a good question. Maybe we can do some digging, but it might be more complex than we realize.
I don't think.
No.
Let's not read too much into it.
Yeah. You know how the WWE Hall of Fame picks their people, man? It's the same way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
but
People used to like you, and now you're old. There you go.
the Hall of Fame basically picks anybody that's decent.
Anyone.
That's all.
How are nominees selected for the Game Awards? Nominees for most categories of the Game Awards are chosen by an international jury of over 95 global media and influencer outlets.
Right. That's what I'm
So
talking
people like IGN pick these.
Ugh.
God damn it.
Man, that's cap. That's
People
cap.
like IGN pick their things when they can't even review a game properly.
Well, no, but okay. So this reminds me. This is what I'm saying. What I was saying before. It's kind of like how, let's say, the NHL picks its, let's say, players for MVP or whatnot, right? It's generally a pool of journalists. I forget how they're picked, and they kind of have their own picks, and then they choose. And oftentimes the people that pick themselves are, yeah, there you go, IGN. They don't even are not even aware of all the
Part of
players.
this list.
Players all the time.
Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah, we need to get on this list, by the way. How do we get on this list?
Reporter.
We need to have our voices heard, damn it.
Yeah.
Isn't that protocol then?
How is
Looks like
Polygon
that.
on?
US
Well,
game.
they're big.
Vice?
Yeah, Vice is iffy. We need to get Gamestinger on here. And the Indie Gamer. Let's do it.
Vice? The Indie Gamer would provide a fair shake at all games.
Yeah. In the UK,
Sounds
look at that,
crazy.
you're a gamer.
The Gaming Bible.
The Guardian. It's ridiculous.
I hate the Guardian articles about games.
What culture? What culture?
What culture are part of it?
They vote?
Oh my god.
Wow.
That's
Like these
ridiculous.
gaming awards are just like if they decide to do one big wrestling award, because every publication is like reporting on like wrestling nowadays, man. Like even if they didn't do it before,
Right.
every publication, even though they didn't do anything with gaming in the past, they want to
Pop
report
Culture is
gaming.
a very weird company though. They've made a YouTube channel just on Star Wars in the past month.
Yeah,
CBC.
What-
They're so behind the times. So what do they know about games? Nothing. Ridiculous.
What does
It's
China
weird
know
that
about
nominees
games?
aren't worth.
I mean-
This is interesting.
This is interesting.
Yeah, well, there you go. At least they're transparent, and we can see who's
Yeah,
voting.
I didn't expect to find a list like this. This is surprising.
Yeah.
They were probably paid to
So
use
it's
their
not
name.
Jeff
The
Hansen in the room.
Saudi Gamer? That's interesting.
Yeah. It is.
Peru.
Got
Philippines, Poland.
CBX.
A lot of indie developers in Poland.
Yeah, it's weird, eh?
Eh?
It's weird. I mean, I guess it's the CD Project Red effect. I don't know.
If there's a good university there, there's usually some good studios around that university.
Right.
That makes sense.
And there's probably the CD Project Red people going in to teach him.
Yeah.
That's interesting. This is a interesting list.
It definitely is. A lot of people get to vote. Well, we'll see. We'll see how they vote.
How do we get on?
Uh,
They probably see you have a big impact on it or something and ask you.
You most likely need to have millions of page views at the very least to get on there.
yeah.
We're not there yet, guys, but we will get there one day, hopefully in the near future. But no, we're likely not big enough.
And it's, I don't know, man. It's like
If we just
If you
say
do-
we're in like a smaller country because we're all in different countries, we might be able to get on it.
Well, also in Canada.
We're from
this-
Madagascar.
But this is the thing, guys. So, I'm in Canada. In Canada, they only have CBC. CBC is the Canadian. It's like the BBC in the UK, right?
mhm.
It's like
Big
Yeah,
shit show.
that's what it is. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and it's mainly a news station, news channel, and they but it's not like what do they know about games? I can't see what they would know about games at all. It's ridiculous that they're the only ones from Canada on the list. So maybe we got a shot there.
Canada. Psh.
What was that?
Oh, I forgot. Everybody can make fun of Americans all day.
No one makes fun of Americans. Who makes fun of Americans? I don't know anybody. I was gonna say something.
This podcast is over.
All right, I think we're gonna end it. We've done like over an hour and a half. I think. So I think we're gonna end it. So anybody still watching, subscribe, hit that like button on this video. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Any final words?
Not from me.
All right.
Wonder how many people would be annoyed with this. For our opinions on controversial subjects.
So about Last of Us 2. All right.
Yeah.
I'll see all you fun people next week.
Yeah. We're gonna have more videos coming out.